aspiring professionals through meaningful conversation and practical knowledge sharing. Our goal, as you know, is to inspire excellence, encourage innovation, and promote ethical leadership in project management across sector and industries. Today's session reflects that commitment by focusing on integrity, not just as, personal value, but a strategic advantage of delivering impactful and sustainable projects. As the saying goes, integrity is doing the right thing, even no one is watching. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Before I bring in our keynote speaker, I would like to hand over the mic to Dr. Lucas to give us a bit of welcome remark, and then we kickstart the event. Dr. Lucas, the mic is with you now. Thank you.
Oh, Miss Owa, thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And I want to welcome everyone to another episode of Faces of Projects by MOTIL Projectors Limited. And, we've been having series of episodes, but today's episode, we just find it so germane. And we feel like, integrity is actually the bedrock, is actually the heartbeat of leadership. And why we take so much in project leadership, we should take so much into integrity. So today's episode is going to be delivered by, our well-recognized Dr. Kehinde Alade. He's a lecturer, he's a mentor, he's a coach, and also a project director. He's going to walk us through today. And I just want to thank everyone that took, their time to be on this episode. It means so much, and it shows how much we are ready to pay so much to knowing more about project leadership and integrity, leading with integrity, to be precise. And thank you very much once again, and I welcome you to our episode. I hope you get enough insights. I hope today's episode become one of the things that you always remember that, oh, I think it's the right time for me to do the right thing. Thank you, and you're welcome once again.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lucas. Please, can we give him a big round of applause? Thank you, thank you, thank you. So it's now my pleasure to introduce our distinguished keynote, Dr. Kehinde Temitope Alade. He is a respected project manager professional with extensive experience in leadership, governance, ethical project delivery, and organizational excellence. His work has impacted professionals across various sectors through mentoring, consulting, and capacity development, helping organizations strengthen projects' performance while upholding the highest standard of professionalism and accountability. Today, he will guide us through practical insight on leading projects with integrity, navigating ethical dilemmas, building stakeholders' trust, and fostering a culture of excellence within project team. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Kehinde Temitope Alade. I don't see you guys clapping. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. It is an honor for us to have you today with us, and also for you to share your wealth of knowledge with Faces of Project and also the students that are with us and other professionals and young leaders who are willing to tap and learn from your wealth of knowledge. Faces of Project appreciate you for that. And I would hand over the mic to you for your introduction, and then we kickstart the event. Thank you so much, sir. Over to you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining from all around the world. I want to thank Faces of Projects, the leadership, and I will say the steering committee that is making this possible. It's quite humbling for me to be featured today as your guest speaker, knowing fully well that when it comes to the subject of leadership, it is very key. And then the subject of ethics, and then the subject of excellence. So bringing these three together, for me, I would say is quite humbling that I'll be the one to coach and to mentor participants today. So it's my pleasure, and I look forward to an impactful session. And I would really encourage everyone to feel free to contribute, to ask questions, to not only ask questions, you can also contribute by the way of probably sharing your own dilemma as a project leader, or even from the experiences of others.
Okay, I can't hear doctor. Is it from my end?
I would want to say that I think I don't know the format, whether it would be a question and answer, or you just want me to give a little background to my insight into this theme for today. So I would also try and be flexible, because I know we have a diverse audience, so from different and diverse industries and go, so that we can have an engaging session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, doctor. I think it's either your network or my network. I couldn't get all that you're trying to say, but I heard your pledge to mentor and also extend your leadership to Faces of Project and our community. We appreciate that. I think at this juncture, we would kickstart our discussion. And Dr. Kainde, to set the tone, how would you define integrity in the context of project management? And why do you believe it's a strategic advantage rather than simply a moral obligation?
Well, thank you so much for that. Let me begin by, saying that the world is going more dynamic, more complex. In fact, theoretically, they've used the word VUCA to say that the world is becoming more volatile, more uncertain, more complex, and more ambiguous. So if you look at what that concept deals with, it's telling us that, for instance, your client will want more for less. That is a complexity in itself. The same thing when it comes to the people you're working with as a project manager or project leader. You have more diverse teams. The world has become more connected, because maybe in the past you're only working with your local people, you understood one another easily, language wise, no barriers and all that. And again, if you look at technological advancements, how it is rapidly changing and all. So you will see that with those kind of complexities, for instance, your client needing more for less, how do you keep up as a project leader to give your client the best? You don't want to compromise on standards. At the same time, you want to, you have little to use as a resource. So, with that, when we talk of integrity, we just mean that upholding the standards, upholding standards, upholding the values of your profession, or of your belief, not compromising on that no matter what. So usually people are easily pressured to say, look, I don't just have any other way to go than to compromise on these important values. We have to do that to make ends meet, things like that. But you will see that at the end of the day, there will be a huge problem, because you will then lose. If you lose your integrity, you've lost it all. So for me, I think that integrity is doing what is right no matter what, upholding the right values, the values of your profession, the values of your belief, and not even under duress or under pressure would you compromise. So when you're a person of integrity, you can be predicted. People can trust you. So I will keep it simple so that we can know that integrity is not such an ambiguous concept. It just speaks to doing the right thing at the right time, no matter what the complexities are, no matter the volatility of your environment, no matter the pressures, you are upholding the standards, you are upholding the values. So I think I will leave it there so that we can move on to other things. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kehinde. I'll be taking over from here now. Our host is in between some tasks, so thank you for your views on sharing the integrity of a project leadership and the accountability. Thank you, sir. So the second question will be, sir, project managers often face on competing pressure from timelines, budgets, and stakeholders' expectation. How can they maintain ethical standard without compromising project performance?
Thank you so much for that. You see, when you're faced with those kind of challenges, you also need to be solid. You must have your own, I would say, your belief system. You know, when we talk of system dynamics, a system deals with things that wouldn't change no matter what. For instance, in your body, you have your digestive system. When you eat, there's a process to go through to be passed out and to be utilized by the body for growth. The same thing with other systems like respiratory, the central nervous and all that. The same thing when we talk of your leadership identity and system, your system has to be, fundamentally built. When it is fundamentally built, I tell you that you will get the best possible of every situation because you already have a template. You already have a template. You have a code. You have a code of conduct, a code of ethics. You know your responsibilities. You know your boundaries, and you set them accordingly. And because you are serious with that kind of thing, which is not so popular, I must admit, it's not so popular. I will give you a very practical example. It's a sad incident, and I always like to, to accord it as same. The Ikoyi building collapse. A real estate developer trying to, develop a real estate project in Ikoyi, Lagos. I think some 3-4 years ago, it was all over in the news because the building collapsed, going to 17th floor or so. Now, the project manager on that project, who was an engineer, a civil engineer, actually resigned. He resigned on the job. And for me, I always say that he signed out so that he can keep on living on earth. Sadly, the client didn't. So the client, what really happened, if you follow the story, was that the client insisted that the project manager should compromise on the approved number of floors. He said he should compromise, and the engineer who was the project manager insisted that, look, we got this approval, I think, for 13 floors. So, but because more people were buying in, there was more money to spend. The client have executed a lot of projects in the past. They felt it was nothing to compromise. We will handle it, keep on going. We will bail our way out. We will settle all the people that needs to be settled. You see, this value thing that we are talking about today is so sensitive and so critical. I will not just say it's important, it's critical because it's a matter of life and death. Compromising on this can mean death. So what happened, to conclude that story, was that he insisted that he would not go further to to keep building up the floors beyond the approved stage. And the client said, well, I don't think you can continue with me. And he resigned. But we knew how that story eventually went, how that, the building collapsed. Not even the client or the real estate developer was alive to tell the story. How I wish he only got injured. If he had only been injured, I mean, that could be will I say, a warning or a sign or something to tell others a story that, look, it's not good to do this, but he wasn't even alive. And sadly, a lot of other people lost their lives in that incident. So I'm saying that when you talk of How do we uphold those kind of values, not minding the pressures, is a thing of, I would say it has to be inbuilt. It has to be a value system. I use the word system because, like I said earlier, all our body, the movement of your body is built on a working system. The digestion of your food is based on a working digestive system. Likewise, every other part of your body is built on the same. And so should it be for our profession. If you will be a serious professional, you have to have a value system. You will be known for something, and it should be known for ethical leadership, known for integrity. So let me stop there so that we can take.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, sir. And sir, have you ever encountered a situation whereby the ethical decision was also the more difficult decision, just like what you said with the project manager in charge of the Ikoyi building, and without breaching confidentiality? In what lesson did that experience teach you, sir?
Thank you so much. Obviously, so. In fact, I would say that there is hardly any project manager that will not be faced with such. And, in my own case, it has to do with, favoritism. Favoritism maybe because some people have good relationship, with one, and you have to make a decision in their favor, as opposed to, recognizing professionalism and someone that will deliver on the job, that will deliver to your quality, to the expected, value, and and this happens to a lot in other settings. So in my own case, at that time, I was, in a predicament whether to do something on friendship level, and whereas that friend wasn't the most qualified for that award, or to look at things objectively. So, but you see, I have to follow the other way, which in the long run is paying off. So I think that sometimes we are also looking at immediate reward. If you are reward driven, it could also be a problem. You want something instant, and you are short term in your thinking. You're not thinking strategically. To think strategically means that you want something. I love the way one of my guest lecturers once put this. He said, for instance, for every crack you see on your road or pothole, is not just the failure of the structural integrity, it is the failure of integrity of somebody that ought to do something right but refuse to follow the other way. So, in other words, it could be in terms of reducing the number of cement, or the number of, or the you know that when you're talking of iron rods, for instance, there are different diameters. You might have to use something thicker in some instances, but some will want to rather compromise on that to use something of less thickness because it's cheaper. And when you do that, it simply means that something that should have lasted maybe like for 3 years before failing will then last 3 months. So who is responsible? You will see that at the end of it, it comes to persons behind the scenes, people, because it's not the material itself that failed, it's the people that didn't appropriate properly. So I just kept my own experience, simple in terms of favoritism, and how it played out. There could be other bigger issues, but I mean, even as simple as that. Okay, let me round up by also sharing this from one of my, I would say, friends in the books. He wrote a book on manager extraordinary, project manager extraordinary in marketing. And he said that he was handling a project for, I think, Toyota company, a marketing for one of the automobile companies. And at that time, he was running the marketing program. Somebody will win that, they will win cars. A number of people will win cars. At that time, he said he didn't have a car of his own. He didn't have a car of his own. So then it could then, compromise the process by working somebody around him to say, I hope you know that car is for me, you will emerge and it will be mine. But they refuse to toe that path. So what we're saying is that these things are all around us. It's not only in terms of favoritism, there could be other issues of misuse of resource or even reporting wrongly, or not acknowledging people's effort, or playing the blame game, things like that. There are ethical issues, and when they come to us, we must remember that, as a project manager that want to be excellent, that want to uphold, ethical values, we must, know how to go based on our belief system, our ethical belief system. I think I'll stop it there. I wanted to say something else, but let me keep it simple and straight to the point. Thank you.
I believe our audience will understand your point, sir. Thank you, sir. So going on with the sir, as regarding leadership and accountabilities, in your opinion, what distinguish an ethical project leader from technically competent project leader?
Wow, that's a very good question. I said so because when you say a competent project leader, you see there are two kind of skills, two categories, and one is has been categorized as hard or technical skills, and the other ones are soft or even people skills. So you see, I reviewed a paper last night from the US for the Engineering, Construction, and Architectural Management Journal. I I even had to compulsorily submit my review before this so that I can talk about, what I saw in the books. They were analyzing about 25,000 project leaders globally based on their LinkedIn profile. I was one of the three reviewers that will assess the paper and determine whether it's fit for publishing. Not to go into too much details about it. And they were also highlighting the issues of people saying that they are good at this, good at, for instance, you can do software, you can allocate resources, you have this competence in Agile, in Primavera, in all this, you have accumulated years of experience and all that, but they leave the people skills. Meanwhile, these people skills are most important because they speak to how you engage your stakeholders on any project. Okay, take for instance, like I always say, project management and project leadership are two different things. So like I always like to say that whereas one is dealing with tools, managing of tools, timelines, budget, and all those things, the other one relates to people. Tools will never change except maybe in terms of functioning, that you need to service them. You know the working of tools, you know the working of money, everything looks like a straight line. But when it comes to people, people change with time. Okay, a team member that is faced with a difficult situation in the family coming to work will not be at the same morale. And if you are the project manager that is insensitive, you will still react like the norm. My friend, I need this thing done. Well, are you okay not doing this, that? And you are bullying people, and they're like pretending that all is well, but all isn't. Okay, I'm hearing some. Okay, so what I'm saying in other words is that, so for me, I think that there is more to project management and there is more to having technical skills, in the sense that you need to be mindful to develop your people skills, which will be most important, most valuable. And the way this works, let me put it as two things like this. You lead people, you don't lead things, you don't lead tools, you lead people. You lead people by motivating them, inspiring them, and the best way to inspire is by example. Leadership is best by example. Don't tell me to do as you say, rather tell me to do as you do. People will rather follow your example in terms of inspiring others. You will know that one of the things that makes project management differ from other professions is that you have to work in a team. You have to deliver. You have to deliver working with other people. There are other stakeholders involved in any project. You have the client, you have the contractor side or the contracting side, the consulting side, you have even the community, the people for which the project, okay, look at this aspect now that we don't often talk about in Africa, which is also very important, the environmental side of things. What impact we are having on the environment in doing what we're doing. So I will tell you for sure that when you put a competent project manager beside someone, I'm not saying that we should overrule competence for people's skills, but let me put it at best this way, that the work of a project leader, of a project manager who is providing leadership, is this way. It's as the work of a coach in a game. I'm happy that the World Cup is coming to a close and people have, criticized different coaches for their decisions at different times. That is exactly what it is. So as a coach, it doesn't mean that you are a good striker, you can score the goals, but you actually know how to make the team work. When we say teamwork is what makes the thing to work. So you have a team, you know how to harness the potentials of your team. That for me is invaluable. You might not have all the skills as a coach or as a choir director that needs to harmonize different voices. So this is how that thing works when it comes to the practicality of things. So you have a competent person. You have to be knowledgeable about people. You will put the right people to do the right things, not putting the square peg in a round hole, but doing otherwise. I don't know if I'm clear enough.
Yeah, thank you so much. I believe you are clear enough, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So moving on to the next question. Many professional believes integrity is a personal value. How can organizations intentionally build a culture of integrity across project teams?
Thank you so much. Now, I like the concept of organization here. How can organization, and I say this because I want to talk as a scholar now, permit me to talk as a scholar, because you see, when I did my master's in the UK 2009, I interacted with their best of best project leaders based on the award that they call CMYA, Construction Manager of the Year Award. The award was running for a 30-year period from 1979 to 2009, and they actually wanted to profile the skills of the award winners into a book. And I happened to, I was privileged to be undertaking that assignment, for the period of my master's before I then move on to something else. But this is the point I want to make when you say organizational. Usually there are three levels. There are three levels when we talk of leadership. There is the industry level. I mean, practically now in project management, there is the industry level. Sadly, in Nigeria, we don't have yet industry driving. I see this in the media. I mean, when I say we don't have industry, I mean maybe in our own profession, it's like what the Faces of Project is doing, which is quite commendable, bringing people to talk practically or honoring people openly. It's not like what we have in the media is not good. The media would do that, to brand people, personality of the year, and things like that. So we have the industry level, then we have the organizational level, which is why I'm happy you are bringing this up, and then we have the individual level. Okay, so when you say organizational, I will try not to derail from your question. Organization, you see, what have sustained organizations is their culture. I also Cape Town, to be specific. I interacted with their best companies, engineering and construction, and project companies, their leaders, especially those that have survived years. Some of them were over 100 years of existence. And I was speaking to their CEOs, their managing directors, interacting with them, knowing what they did right and what they didn't do. And one of the key things I discovered, which is a discovery, of course, is in the books for my thesis on my research, is that organizations that have survived years and will not collapse, they have the organizational culture of mentoring. In fact, not even mentoring, to start with, profiling their leaders. You can't just come from nowhere and be a leader over them. And even if you have to come from nowhere, they have to take you through a process to understand their values. So how can organizations do these things you are talking about? I put my experience together, my years of scholarship, with my own personal years of experience and engagement with leaders of industries that are award winners, and this, I will tell you, it comes through mentoring. It comes through exposing people to what matters. They say if you don't train them, don't blame them. The people you have not invested in sufficiently, you have not exposed to what matters, what will make your organization last long. I remember asking the CEO of Garden Cities. Garden Cities is arguably the largest real estate developer in South Africa. The CEO then, I don't know if he's still the one, John Matthews. I said, John, can you tell me, how has your company survived 100 years? You have lasted more than 100 years. And these are part of the things he said. Our organization culture is so built on values that cannot be compromised. Around when she saw actually a woman, when she saw he said, wow, if I'm your director, I will help you to spend this money very well. It looks like you people are just amassing money for nothing. And they said, madam, that is why you cannot be our director. So that is why you cannot be in our leadership, because we have values, we have organizational values, and the people that lead us, they have that gene in them. Imagine. So when it comes to organizational level, you have to train, you have to mentor, you have to train people, you have to invest, you have to be deliberate. Sadly, many people come into an organization and they start work. The organization is eager to take from people, to take all your knowledge. They want to see your profile, where you are coming from in terms of experience, work experience, and all that. And quickly they are thinking they are so selfish. Organizations that are selfish will not train people, will not invest. And that is why people too, when they feel they've done enough for your organization, they carry their bag and exit. They exit. It doesn't mean that when you invest in people, they don't still go. They might have to go, but at least you don't know the way that investment will play out. So organizations that want to uphold integrity, they have to define what integrity is to them. They will evaluate the capability, what matters to their organization, the capability that will lead to their sustainability, that will make them last. We don't often see that in Africa. We don't often see organizations that have lasted beyond 100 years. You see, we don't pass the baton. We do very well, and then we don't learn to pass the baton graciously to the next generation by giving them the gene, what it takes to carry that on. So that is the lacuna that I think that any wise organization should fill quickly, intentionally so. Okay, I don't know if I've done justice to that, but I will stop here because I know you definitely have more questions for me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So, speaking on this aspect of leadership, so a question was dropped in the chat box. So, I would like us to just briefly go through it before we proceed, sir. So, the question was,
Okay.
what affects leadership, and what if the co-workers are being dismissive? What should I do?
Can you please repeat that question?
Okay, the question says, what affects leadership, and what if the co-workers are being dismissive? What should I do?
Okay, if the co-workers are being, okay, let me try and see the chat box myself so that I can I didn't quite get the later part, the ending part of that question. If the co-workers are being the, is it this
dismissive?
okay, dismissive?
I think let's just encourage the person to speak. My name is Ella. Please, can you just unmute and ask the question so it can be much more clearer?
Yes,
Because
please.
the question seems.
Okay.
Ella,
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, sir. I'm trying to say, what if, as a leader, as a a project leader now, I'm to give an instruction to my co-workers, and they're like, they don't attend to the instruction, but I don't have other workers that can be able to do that project as well as that person. What should I do?
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, you see, when you have a project team, there is what we call the BART framework for any project team, which is to understand boundary. BART is BART. You need to know boundary. Authority is A. R is for the roles, and T is for task. So I will share these two things to help you. In your project team, where is your authority? Where's the place? Are you really empowered as a project manager to other people to do what needs to be done? And if that is a yes, who are you also reporting to when there are issues that you can't handle? So that's the place of boundary. That's the place of authority. Because in an ideal project setting, and I say ideal because sometimes we're not even mindful of we just do things like everything goes for and everything is haphazard, is not organized, not coordinated. So in an ideal project setting, there ought to be a power base for you as a project leader. That means you are confident because probably you have a letter of authority telling you that people must listen to you when you speak, they must obey you, they must honor you, and that when there are such challenges, you can bring people that are competent. If you have people, a project team that is to do something that they don't know how to do, they are not equipped to do it, then there must be a way for you to, you know, there must be a kind of empowerment for you as a project manager to bring some other people that will be effective on the job on board. So if I get you right and what you are trying to ask, I will say that that question is a question of your boundaries and your limit as a project leader and an issue of authority. To what extent are you empowered, to even act? Because if you are not empowered to act, then there will be confusion. You will talk. People will say, "Okay, let me share an experience as except it's not such an important project that maybe it's just a little one that it doesn't matter what goes wrong on the job." I remember in 2004, I was in the University of Ibadan on an internship. I was working with the principal architect of the works department, by name architect TZ Kazim, and he put me on one of their projects to, to follow what was happening and learn on the job and all that. But because of my understanding of drawings, I saw that the carpenters on the job, they were pitching the roof wrongly. When we say pitching roof, for instance, there are different heights or levels, for a roofing system. It's not the simple one. It could be simple gable one just falling to one side, or a dual one left and right side. But there could be more complex ones that you have different points, as you must have seen on some roofing systems around, maybe for beauty, for aesthetics purposes. And so as I observed, I saw that the the carpenters on the job have picked the level wrongly from what I'm seeing on the drawing before me. But what I did was to politely call the attention of their team lead. I said, sir, you might need to check this again because I'm perceiving there is a problem with your, we call it king post. That is the one that will determine the level or the height for which the other height will then begin to take their levels from. And because I was polite enough, I said, sir, you might need to check again that the way I'm seeing this, something wasn't properly done. And of course, when he did, he came back to thank me. And then he made the statement. He said, even though you are on internship as an IT student, we value your politeness in telling us. He said, because some people will report directly to their boss, and then the boss can go in an insultive manner and say, aren't you using your brain? Is your eye blind? Can't you see that this? And that even sometimes it might cost some people their jobs. So what's the difference in what I've done? At my level, I've displayed leadership by not taking it as hot as game or as trying to paint them like laymen who are not so careful in their job. So the point I'm trying to make is that what is your level of authority? Are you able to have a say and to get people to get the ball rolling if you are faced with challenges? Or do you also have somebody that you must report such an incident to? I don't know if that makes sense. If I
Thank you, sir.
okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Jean Patrick has 3 million from Sarah.
Okay. I think do we have anyone that wants to ask any other question or that wants to speak to that? Okay. In the absence of none, I think speaking about what you just said, Dr. Kenny, I'm interested in asking this particular question because of what you just explained, and I think that's although the question was a little bit, I know you were trying to try to explain the whole scene or to imagine what the person that asked was saying. So this brings me to managing ethical dilemmas. When you are faced with a conflict of interest or prayer from influential stakeholders, what decision-making framework would you recommend for project managers to use or project leaders to use? Am I clear enough, sir?
Yeah, sure. You are very clear. Well, that is a very, I would say, important question because we, at one point or the other, as practitioners in project management, must be faced with such ethical dilemmas. So, but again, when you say important stakeholders, the first thing is your profession. I must tell you that when it comes to matters of ethics in your assignments in your profession, the values of the profession must first and foremost be upheld. And I will give you an instance. In the medical profession, you know how important the medical doctors are. They are dealing with subjects of life and death. Okay? So somebody come and say, because I'm the father of the child, I want you to do this, and is ordering you around. You will then be guided by your own professional code of conduct, we call it.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, a doctor is dealing with most times a life or two at once. But do you know, for project managers, what you do is even affecting, it could affect more than 10 in a row, more than 10 at a time, rather, not in a row, at a time.
Yes. Yes.
Look at the issue of that building collapse that I cited earlier.
Mm.
Okay, that client or developer has the money, has the influence, has the connection to say that forget the approved number of floors. Let's take it beyond that because more people have brought dollars, have subscribed to our development. But sadly, it played out that, many lives were lost. So what I'm saying is, when you are asking how should a project manager behave, I will say your profession first. When you are faced with dilemmas, when you are faced with ethical issues, I would say be guided by your code of ethics. Be guided by your code of conduct. I use the case of medical personnel, and you will all agree with me. In fact, I have a friend who just concluded a study in nursing in Canada, and she was telling me how thorough the process was. How thorough. So rigorous that, she thought the heavens would fall. And I said, well, because of the value of life, of a life, how much more when it's more than one? So, most times we try to magnify let me put it simply. Most times we major on the minor and minor on the major. What does that mean? You say because no, these people are so important, I would just have to bow and compromise. And at the end of the day, if lives are lost, God even save you that your own life is preserved, because the one that is responsible for the lives of others, maybe you compromise on quality because some people say, look, I've often said this, that a lot of times in Africa, we would rather give our important projects to foreign companies, engineering and construction. This is truthfully so. Talk about the Third Mainland Bridge, talk about the ongoing Coastal Road project. You will see that the people at the forefront as project leaders, project managers are foreign expats. We call them expatriates. These people you call expatriates, most times from their in their country, they are not even as important as we have put them. But they have come to that level because we say they won't compromise. We say, look, these people are known for quality and for standards. So in Africa, who is going to develop Africa for us? Who is going to help us? We are the ones to know that we should also, and it's even from little things. So enough of putting yourself in undue pressures of stakeholders and saying, well, I have no choice than to compromise. Well, if you compromise and the ugly comes out of your compromise, you will have to face the reading. But until you know that your profession comes first, which was why I used that early example, that project manager that resigned on that Ikoyi building collapse actually signed for his life. He signed for his life to be here because he said he's not going to allude to that pressure of the client and the developer. He signed out, and for that, he's still, and I'm very sure that because people noted that action, he must have gotten even far more important jobs than say, well. So if you are looking for somebody that would do I think this project manager qualifies. So for me, it's a thing of choice and it's a thing of priority. If you put your stakeholders ahead of your profession, I think if anything goes wrong and your license is withdrawn, if anything goes wrong and people come for you and you are even jailed for it, then you know that it's your own fault and it's your own headache that you have to deal with. It might sound a little harsh, but I think that is how important the subject of upholding ethics and ethical values are. All right, thank you. I don't know if that's come across.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you. And I think that you did justice to the question, and that's what we are here for, just to understand the ethics and the integrity in project leadership. Thank you, Dr. Alade. I will just leave it to Mr. Tolu to take it up from here again.
My pleasure.
Thank you, sir. So moving on to the next question, sir. So because of our time, so we can just brush through the questions that we have here, sir. So speaking of excellence in project delivery, we know excellence go a long way beyond delivering a project on time and within budget. So What additional indicators should project professionals strive for when measuring project success?
Thank you so much. Yes, oftentimes we've I would say emphasized the role of uh, the triple bottom line of time, cost, and then quality. But when you say excellence, like excellence is being extraordinary. What's the difference between being ordinary and being extraordinary? Is the extra mile, the extra mile. Okay, extra mile in terms of what? Extra mile in terms of dotting your I's and cutting your T's. For instance, when a project is being commissioned, you will see how happy the client will be. Probably the client say, "Oh, this project is delivered to the time I wanted it in 3 months. 3 months is here. I put the project for 1 billion. It was completed in 1 billion." But do you know, talking from my previous experiences of interaction with award-winning project leaders and all that, I see that excellence now goes beyond the moment, because when the project is delivered, there are end users. There are end users. The client might not even be an end user. For instance, you may have developed, even if it's an app. Let's not just use construction and engineering. You've developed an app because somebody said there is need for this kind of thing. So you develop the app. But then for the end users who are to navigate, they are finding it hard. They are not even having it good. You've developed the app to the time your client wanted it, to the budget they wanted it, but then here are the end users struggling to navigate and having issues of breakdown time and on again. You will see that doesn't portray excellence. So excellence is competence. Excellence is extra mile in quality delivery. Excellence is also acknowledging the effort of others, acknowledging your own limitations, harnessing the potentials of others. Excellence is indeed continuous learning. And excellence extends beyond, the delivery of the project in the now. That means it talks about, how I would say the perception, what that project represents. Let me tell you also practically that there are projects that will be, delivered in, there are contexts that you are delivering a project, and you as a project manager are now the one showing concern for the neighbors. Okay, you are to do a demolition work, and here are you with your heavy equipment from from uh, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And some will even want to do it all night when people are enjoying their peace. Where did you leave the consideration of the community? So, an excellent project manager will cover all this context with actually tick all these boxes. You will tick the box for your client. You will tick the box for your community, because you are also sensitive to communal needs, and you are kind to consider, you are kind to consider the team effort. So don't just let's focus on the timeliness and the cost issues for your project. You have to be broader in your thinking. You have to be more strategic in your thinking. You have to think more widely. Environmental concerns, environmental concerns, end users consideration. If I am in the shoe of this person that will use this. So when you are doing that, and let me end on this note, it might look so ambiguous and say, wow, do you mean this issue of excellence has so much and so many things we are considering? But do you know it even comes to issues of time management? We've coined something out. I don't even know from when it began or since when, that we call the African time, and we've all come to agree that there is such thing as an African time, by which people know that, well, let me not be the first. Let's allow for allowance of latecomers, because we all agree that there's an African time. But do you know that you can distinguish yourself as a project manager from onset, even from those things? Your timeliness, it's just the extra mile that makes for an extraordinary project manager. Let me stop there also.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. You did the question justice, sir. Thank you. So moving on, sir. As an emerging professionals, what advice would you give to young or aspiring project managers who want to establish themselves as ethical and credible leaders in early stage of their career, sir?
Thank you so much. This is, for me, this is the golden question.
Yes, sir.
Why did I say it's golden question? Because I'm also passionate about mentoring and coaching project leaders. I believe so much in the potentials of young Africans, which was why I was one of the people that spoke against one of the CEOs that alleged that young professionals in Nigeria, or graduates, not even professional, graduates are unemployable. They have so many slots that they can't fill, maybe for months or for years. So I said, no, don't tell me about that as a patriotic Nigerian. Rather, tell me how you want to solve that problem. And I put up some recommendations, and I'm happy to say that I saw, recently, that those recommendations were taken up. There are some centers of excellences, and all that in Nigeria. That now, to your question, my advice to young, this project management profession is still very young in Nigeria and emerging. Is still emerging, is still evolving. So there is a lot of work to do for the professionals in this field. I will start by saying, get affiliations. Get affiliations. Can you see platforms like this? Platform like this, you have hundreds of people online to listen to people that are featured as a face of project part time. You will definitely glean from their wisdom. Affiliations will help you a long way, will go a long way. They say, show me your friend, I will tell you who you are. That is very true. Your affiliations. If I'm not affiliated to some professionals and some people helping me to be also promoted in my line of work, I won't be here. I won't be recognized. So you have to take your affiliations seriously. You have to be intentional about your affiliations in this profession. By the grace of God, I'm a fellow. I am a fellow. I'm proud to say that I am a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Project Managers of Nigeria. That is the sole regulatory body of project management in Nigeria. There are also NGOs like this who are promoting the profession. I used to have one of my students as a past president of the Young PMI, Professional Management Institute. I think that's their name. They were featuring somebody from Kyrgyzstan or Kyrgyzstan. I can't even pronounce the name properly. And I said to him, I mentioned the name. You should know Shodola, this and that. He was my student many years ago. He said, yes, we work together very well. Even from the university days, 100 level, 200 level, they come, I mentor them. I'm their staff advisor. I'm still the staff advisor of the student body in my university. So you just have to take your affiliation seriously. The people you roll with in the profession, you have to consciously pursue their wisdom for guidance. Not only that, certifications. If you will be somebody of integrity, you have to know your onions, and that wouldn't come cheap. You have to be knowledgeable. To be knowledgeable comes by, some people say education is a scam. You should ask such people whenever they say that again, ask them, in what context is education a scam? In what context? Because education is not just the certificate you carry, but it's the knowledge that have come through you, the skills you have acquired, the understanding you have, acquired as well. So those put together your affiliation with your certification, with your profession, learning from experience. You see, we don't have that culture of profiling our learnings. Sadly, some people don't profile what they have learned. They say experience is the best teacher. What has experience taught you? For instance, in working in teams, for instance, experience have taught me that honor people no matter who they are, because the table might turn. The person you have dishonored might become your boss. Some people, when they now understand something, they begin to do emergency honoring. To be humble. So put together, if you be a project manager of integrity, start building yourself even from little things. Every opportunity that you have, take it seriously. Do not let it, don't treat your opportunities so casually that you misuse them or you even squander it. Build yourself consciously through training, through exams you take and affiliations, and doing, getting some learning from your experience. Over time, you will see that you will be best at your job and you will be recognized for it. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, sir, for that, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So, closing the question, sir. So, if you could leave our audience with one piece of advice on leading projects with integrity and excellence, what would it be? A piece of advice for them to go home with and resonate with.
Please say that again. The line was breaking.
Okay, I said if you could leave our audience with one piece of advice on leading projects and integrity and excellence, what would that be?
Wow. I would simply say that there are two types of rewards. Some are immediate and some is like somebody that have planted a corn and the other person have planted a cocoa. When you are a person of integrity, when you are consciously doing things excellently, going the extra mile, and when you are consciously leading, this is what you will harvest: credibility. Credibility is goodwill, is long lasting. Your name rings a bell. You will see people calling your name in places to say, he will deliver, she will deliver. Put her on that job, she will not fail us. You will harvest repeat of business. That is exactly what you will harvest, because there will be trust. And when there is trust, what you gain is more than money. So I want to leave you with that the harvest will be so great. It might not come immediate. In fact, in the immediate, it might look like you are the loser. Maybe because they say, no, no, we don't want her. It might look like, oh, they don't want me because I don't want to compromise on our, our professional values and important things. But trust me, over time, you will be the one that will win. Like the saying goes that the patient dog eat the fattest bone. You are not even a dog. You are an ethical leader that is excellent and a person of integrity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Dr. Kehinde, sir, for sharing such valuable insight with us. Your perspective on leadership, ethics, and professional excellence has given us a practical lesson that we can apply in our projects and careers. And I'm sure our participants will have some questions that we'd like to ask you today about the discussion. So we're going to open the floor for an interactive question and answer session within a short period of time, under 5 to 6 minutes. So we're going to keep the floor open. So if you have any question you'd like to ask Dr. Kehinde Alade before we round up this session, kindly signify and proceed with your question. Thank you. So the floor is open. If you have any question, kindly raise your hand or mute your mic and ask your question right away. Thank you.
I think my name is Ella
You can
just
also check
said
the chat box.
Okay, my name is Ella. You have the floor. Unmute your mic and ask your question. Okay.
I'm also seeing some questions in the
Yes.
yes.
So she asked, beyond compliance and professional codes of
Hello.
conduct. Can you hear me, sir? Can you
Yes,
hear
I
me, sir?
can very well.
Okay, sir. So she said, beyond compliance and professional codes of
Yes.
conduct, what distinguish true ethical leadership in project management, and how can organization cultivate it across all levels of leadership?
Beyond ethical leadership and professional conduct, what distinguishes ethical leadership in project management? Okay, let me first, I think it's a twofold question. What
Yes, sir.
distinguishes ethical leaders, and then the other side? Well, for me, I would say what would distinguish ethical leaders from other type of leaders is that they can be trusted and they can also be entrusted. You know, they are not the same thing, even though they sounded alike. Ethical leaders can be entrusted with resources. When you come to that level that you people say, don't worry, give it to him or her, he or she will deliver on the job to our expectations, then you can be entrusted. And to come to that point, so that way, to come to that point, it means that you have been an ethical leader because people have watched you do what you say you will do, deliver. It doesn't mean that you deliver all the time. It simply means that you are known for who you are. Even if you will not deliver to time, you communicate. So don't let's go with the impression that as an ethical leader, you are perfect, no flaws. No. It simply means that you even admit your own limitations where you cannot perform or where you are faced with a challenge that is beyond you. Say, look, you communicate. What I discover is that people also like, in fact, we call this I'm looking for the right concept that it is used as is in the literature, but I mean like vulnerability. That's the word. They like vulnerable leaders that are open to say, it's not like, well, as an all-rounder, everything. Even when you are vulnerable, you say, look, this is happening, you communicate, you are transparent. So what distinguishes ethical leadership that can be entrusted with resources is that you have come to a point where people know who you are, that it doesn't matter what is going on, you will deliver. And you will deliver to the expectations of stakeholders. Don't forget that no project exists in isolation. So don't say that I'm an ethical leader, so I'm a loner, nobody follows me, I'm doing everything all alone. At the end of the day, I still get the perfect result. No, I'm not saying if you're an ethical leader, everyone will like you. What I'm saying in essence is that even when they don't like you, they know they don't like you for doing what is right. And at the end of the day, they say the end justifies the means, meaning that over time, people see that truly you are who you say you are. You have been upholding the values of your professionalism. You understood what needs to be done, what needs not to be done. You admit your own limitations, and you acknowledge people's efforts in supporting you to get to what you want. Now, to the second side of the question, how can organizations cultivate across all levels? Simple: train and retrain. You have to train people. You have to invest in training. There are people that they don't invest. They don't, you see, even in friendship, there are people that only take, there are organizations that only take from you. I could be this knowledgeable. I'm not saying it's the federal government that has sponsored me, as a lecturer in Nigerian university, but I've enjoyed the scholarship. So when I studied in federal government scholarship, but when I studied for my PhD in Cape Town, that was federal government scholarship. And people have said to me, why return to Nigeria? Are you okay? Are you under spell? Are you sure? This, both friends and family. But I'm here today by the grace of God. I'm speaking to you. I'm happy doing so, that I'm impacting lives, because the federal government of Nigeria invested in me through the TED Fund, invested in me. The very first conference paper I wrote in South Africa in an international conference was an award-winning paper. People, scholars came from all over the world. I emerged as the overall best, is there on record. But that happened because I have the opportunity of training. So organizations should intentionally train. But when you spend highlighting these areas, you spend people to know the importance of ethics, you train your leaders, you will get the value for it. Let me stop there because of time. Okay, I think there are more questions for me. How should project leaders balance transparency with confidentiality when managing sensitive information? Well, very good question. It said particularly high stakes or publicly scrutinized projects. Well, it's a pretty straightforward question to me. How should project managers balance transparency with confidentiality? Okay, there is always an extent to which, now my laptop battery is running low. I might switch to my phone. Should there be more questions if that goes off? So, but the point is, it's pretty straightforward in the sense that there are still boundaries. So the thing is, there has to be, across the stakeholder, there has to be boundary. In fact, this is well spelled out when it comes to project management using some software in this. For instance, I've been involved in some international EU grant project recently in terms of proposal writing, and they were very specific in terms of your level of communication, your channel of communication. So you use the BAT principle: boundary, authority, responsibility, and task. Know your boundaries. Don't over-report because it might put you in problem, and don't under-report because your stakeholders are not happy doing that. There's another thing we use, stakeholder mapping. There's the stakeholder mapping. There are some stakeholders that are high-powered. There are something they are looking for, give it to them. There are some low-stakes stakeholder, give them at their level of reporting. So if you do that, you will have less issues. Okay, I think okay, that's all I have on the tray. So other questions should come directly, please, if you have.
Thank you so much, sir, for that, sir. So if you have any other question before we round up the session, kindly indicate, unmute your mic and ask a question right away. So I think there's no question. So in absence of no question,
there is question. I put up my hands.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. It has been nice listening to this lecture today. It has been a very resourceful one. My question is having to do with the characteristics of projects. When we look at the characteristics of projects, we talk about specific. A good project must be specific, measurable, realistic, achievable, time-bound. But, sir, when we go into politics, considering our political leaders, they embark on projects without considering or putting into consideration the characteristics of projects, thereby leading to lack of continuity, lack of consideration. Continuity is lacking in most of these projects at the long run. So what could be done about this when we talk about our profession? From the aspect of our political leaders. Most of the projects they embark on lack continuity. And most of those projects are even lacking the specific characteristics of a good project. Please, sir, how can this be handled professionally? Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. What a good question to also probably be closing with. That speaks to the role of our government and regulatory bodies. The role of government and regulatory bodies is a gap, a huge gap that needs to be that we need to talk about. So usually the way it works in developed countries, there is a development plan, a national development plan, state development plan at different levels, municipal development plan, which is for the local government level that we talk about here. So what they do is once that development plan is rolled out, it doesn't matter whether you are APC, PDP, because this plan is for the entire system. There is a buy-in. There is a buy-in. So I understand what you're trying to say, the subject of continuity. When another government comes to power, they scatter everything, they start all over, and you see why they take us as developing and underdeveloped countries. We have to come to a point. I'm happy that I know people are on this platform that are working with the government, and as we have the opportunity, we are coming up. We should also do well to talk more about the national development plan, state development plan, plugging in. If there has to be changes, it doesn't have to be major changes, just maybe some little adjustment here and there, but that plan should be followed because that's how systems are built solidly. Talk about the Asian tigers, they put these things to work. We used to be on the same level many years ago, Singapore, and this Taiwan and all this, but they have left a lot of African countries behind because they follow the plan and we are not, sadly. So truly, we have to follow the plan as developed. I don't know if that makes some sense.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
No.
Thank you so
Kindly unmute, Miss. I think Afolabi Adela. She was trying to say something. You're on mute, please. Okay.
Yes, I was the one that just asked the question you answered now. Thank you very much for the response, sir. I'm really okay with the response. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you,
you.
thank you.
All right.
So moving forward, if there's another question, please kindly raise your hand, unmute your mic, and ask away.
Somebody is saying, please help me out on this question. What affect leadership? Okay. I've
That's good. Thank you.
attended to that. So it's a subject of boundary and the power to hire and fire. If you have it, if you don't have it, report to your superior on the problem or challenge you are faced with so that it can be properly addressed.
All right, thank you so much, sir. So in absence of no question, Mr. Ibrahim will take over from here, sir. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Mr. Ibrahim.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Tolu. And I want to thank Dr. Ken for taking of today to share such valuable insights on ethics and excellence in project delivery. Truly, sir, your wealth of experience and practical wisdom have truly enriched us, and we truly appreciate you. We do not take you for granted, sir. I also want to use this opportunity to thank everyone on behalf of Faces of Projects to extend our heartfelt appreciation to everyone that took time out of their day to join today's webinar process. And to our host and co-host that truly did a very good job today. I also want to thank you both, which is Mr. Tolu and Mrs. Hawa. So I want to also plead with everyone whether we can all turn on our camera to take a group photo so that we can also post it on our social media to show everyone that you are part of today's and to just promote project to everyone. Thank you. Thank and take a group photo. And I also want to encourage you all to please follow at Easter. Please us. Okay. I've not yet. Yeah. Please let's take like one is written rich used that picture. Look, can anyone hear me?
It seems your network is breaking. So thank you so
The
much.
line is actually breaking.
Yes. So
I
the
know some
certificate.
people probably because of where they are.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. So the group photo has been taken. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Dr. Kehinde, for being with us here today. And we'll be glad to have you over and over again, sir. Thank you so much for
Yes,
coming.
for joining us today and taking time out of your busy schedule. Thank you so much, sir, for reaching us today. And thank you, everyone, for joining us on today's edition. Do have a wonderful day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. So this is the end of the session. Thank you. I'll see you all again next time.
Thank you.